Good day, everyone. Today, our group will report about cultural heritage tourism. This topic talks about how tourism helps protect and promote our culture, traditions, and way of life. I will start with an introduction. My name is Angel Carren Desamparado. Then the next parts will be discussed by my group members, Dumdum, Mangompit, Pacure, and Zapanta. So, let's begin. Many developing countries, including the Philippines, use cultural tourism because it helps revive, enhance, and nurture cultural heritage. Tourism allows communities to practice and share their heritage expressions. This is important because it helps meet people's sense of nostalgia and allows them to fulfill their sense of loss. According to UNESCO, tourism gives benefits not only today but also in the future. International organizations recognize that cultural tourism supports the conservation of nature and culture. It also encourages better relationships between humans and nature, and it supports the sustainable use of natural resources. Culture is dynamic. It changes over time because of social and natural environments. Communities also adapt their culture depending on their needs. The survival of a cultural traditions depends on the willingness of people to continue it and pass it on to the next generation. For the next part, I will talk about culture. There is no single universal definition of culture. Culture refers to the whole way of life, customs, and habits of certain groups of people. This includes social, artistic, and intellectual activities from the past and the present. UNESCO defines culture as a set of spiritual, material, intellectual, and emotional features of a society or a group. This includes art, literature, lifestyles, and ways of living together. It also includes value system, traditions, and beliefs. Culture includes practices such as ancient upland farming, food gathering, and rituals performed by indigenous groups. Local festivals like the Songkran in the Thailand or the Santa Cruzan in the Philippines show how communities celebrate their heritage and traditions. And for the last part, I will report about cultural tourism. Cultural tourism focuses on culture as an attraction or as a motivation for people who love to travel. It may involve active or passive appreciation of a past and present artistic expressions, productions, or traditions of different groups. Cultural tourism may include visiting museums, cultural sites, attending arts and crafts fairs, and also participating in cultural experiences. People who love to travel not only to enjoy but also to observe or to learn. Smith describes cultural tourism as passive, active, and interactive engagement. Cultural tourism also provides educational, creative, or entertaining experiences for visitors.
I'm the next reporter, Mae Ann and today I will be tackling the cultural tourists, the cultural tourism and heritage, and lastly, the cultural heritage attractions. Cultural tourists. Cultural tourists travel to experience culture, but they don't all value it the same way. MacArthur and Ducros 2002 describe five types of cultural tourists, which helps tourism planners understand what each type wants and manage destinations better. Cultural tourist, Table 10.2, types of cultural tourists, and there are five, namely purposeful, sightseeing, serendipitous, casual, and incidental. First, purposeful. Purposeful tourists visits mainly for culture and wants a deep, meaningful cultural experience. Second, sightseeing. Sightseeing tourists visits mainly for culture but only wants a quick surface level experience. The third is the redemptious tourist. Didn't plan to focus on culture, but unexpectedly gains a deep cultural experience. And the fourth one is the casual tourist. Casual tourist culture is not the main purpose and they only want a light or simple cultural experience. And the last one, the fifth one, is incidental tourist. Has no cultural motive but still ends up visiting cultural attractions. The cultural heritage tourism is about visiting places that have important history, traditions, and natural beauty. The World Heritage Convention helps protect these special places. Cultural heritage includes the stories, beliefs, traditions, and objects that people pass from one generation to another. and these things can change over time because of history and the environment. The tangible cultural heritage. These are physical things you can see and touch, like buildings, museums, old objects, landscapes, and family heirlooms. Intangible cultural heritage. These are non physical traditions and practices like ceremonies, languages, stories, dances, festivals, beliefs, rituals, skills, and everyday customs. Darangan Maranao. The Darangan is an epic story sung or chanted by the Maranao people, telling about heroes, love, war, and the history of their community. Next is Hudhud chants from Ifugao. The Hudhud are long traditional chants performed by the Ifugao, usually during rice planting, harvest, funerals, and important community events. The heritage in tourism. Heritage in tourism, or the heritage, is used to create attractions and experiences for tourists. There are two concepts by Summer by Murray 2002. The first one is political tool. Political tool, heritage is chosen and presented in a way that supports certain ideas, beliefs, or stories. The second one is economic tool. Economic tool heritage becomes a product that can be changed or packaged depending on what tourists want and what businesses can offer. Cultural heritage tourism. When tourism promotes certain stories, places, or traditions, it affects how people today and even future generations think about and remember that past. The cultural heritage attractions. Tourist experience. The tourist experience it encounters with local, indigenous people and understanding traditions, history, way of life like participation in festivals, rituals, traditional activities. Cultural contact, social change. Cultural heritage attractions. Tourism and culture by Robinson and Picard. Culture influences who we are, and tourism shows that culture is always changing. Because of tourism, the meaning of cultural traditions can shift over time. Tourism packaging of culture. The tourism industry adjusts cultural practices like the timing, place, or style of performances to make them appealing to visitors. Community creativity and cultural products are things created by local people like festivals, crafts, food, art, and cultural villages that give tourists special cultural experiences. They help keep traditions alive and support the community, even if some presentations are made to look more perfect than they really are. And that's all. Next reporter.
Good day everyone, my name is Lezlyn and I will discuss the heritage sites, natural and cultural heritage sites in the Philippines and indigenous cultural tourism. First is heritage sites. As of late 2025, the UNESCO World Heritage List includes a total of 1,248 properties and cultural has 972 properties. So mao ni ang mga lugar nga gibuhat sa mga tao o nagpakita og values sa long history o sa culture nila. For example, mga ancient city, temple, or historical building. A natural has 235 properties. These are the place that has beautiful view or mga natural lang nga makita nato sa mga place. For example, natural parks, waterfalls, or unique ecosystem. In mix, both cultural and natural has 41 properties. The UNESCO or United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization kini siya is usa ni siya ka organization nga nag-list sa mga tao, nag-list sa mga lugar nga naay value sa mga tao. That's why it's called heritage site. So this is the table 10.3 example of heritage sites and tourist attraction. To summarize this table shows 7 main ways to talk about heritage, which is history we save. Natural heritage is about nature, like parks and caves. Cultural heritage is about art, music, and festivals. Built heritage is old buildings and monuments. Other types are the things like old factories, industrial churches, religious sites, war places, military, and houses of famous artists, literally and artistic heritage. So next is the natural cultural heritage sites in the Philippines. Many tourism sites in the Philippines are found in the ancestral lands of indigenous peoples. The country has over 100 ethnic groups and many of them have lived in these protected areas for thousands of years. So we all know naman no nga, there are many ecotourism sites here in our country. So the Philippines daw is on the land of more than 100 ethnic groups. We need a proper management jud para protect ang culture and mga indigenous peoples and to environment for the future. So this is the table 10.4 World Heritage Sites in the Philippines. And to summarize this table lists 5 important UNESCO World Heritage Sites in the Philippines. The cultural sites are 4 old Baroque churches, the 2,000-year-old rice terraces, and the historic town of Vegan from the Spanish time. The 2 natural sites, both in Palawan, are the Tobataha Reef Natural Parks, a big coral reef, and the Puerto Princesa Subterranean River National Park, a famous underground river. These sites were added to the list between 1993 and 1999. See, this is the indigenous cultural tourism. So, the indigenous cultural tourism or gitawag po siya ethnic tourism. So, mani siyang pag-visit sa mga tourists, sa mga native people para makita sa mga tourists ang ilang culture o ilang lifestyle sa ilang natural na lugar. So, ang different lang sa aboriginal tourism is must refer sa mga native people, but the words aboriginal, indigenous, at ethnic tourism are more often used in that same tourism. So the effect of this is mas nanaghan ang nagka-interest nga maadto sa ilang lugar bisag layo pa ug mas na-expose ang mga native people. So bad tourism on a central land can cause indigenous people to lose their culture and the rights. Because of this, the Philippines uses laws like NIPAS 1992 and IPRA 1997. These laws help protect the rights of indigenous people over their ancestral land in all areas. So this part, because of environment and cultural integrity, are central to sustainable indigenous tourism. Access to tribal land, resources, and cultural knowledge should be negotiated with the indigenous people because nature and cultural are important. Ang pagsud o paggamit sa land and knowledge of the tribe needs to be negotiated and approved by the indigenous people. By entering the Mangin village requires permission from the elders. So it means everything you want to access is need deny permission sa mga elders. First things first is the permission of them. So this is the last part of my topic. For indigenous tourism to be sustainable, tourists must follow the culture and life phase of the indigenous people. Tourists must respect the sacredness of the land and show good ethical behavior. So all tourists jud is need jud mo follow sa ilang culture ug ilang life. Kay ni visit man sila, so dapat jud na respect with them and show them good behavior.
Good day everyone, I'm honoring T. Pacure and my topic is about culture and nature of the cultural diversity. To begin, culture and nature are universally connected. For many indigenous communities, the natural environment is not just a source of survival but also a foundation of their identity, beliefs, and traditions. This connection helps us understand how humans and nature continuously influence each other. The importance of the cultural-nature link. This link became even more emphasized when UNESCO created the World Heritage Convention in 1972. They highlighted that nature can't be fully appreciated without understanding its cultural meaning. Many natural areas have cultural stories, rituals, and traditions attached to them. Also, protecting the natural sites works best when local communities have control over the resources because they understand the land better for long-standing traditions. Next is tourism, culture, and nature interrelationship. In many traditions, villages, such as those in Fiji, tourism, culture, and nature interact closely. Different ecosystems like rainforests, mangroves, and coral reefs support both community life and tourism activities. A key idea here is Vanua, which expresses how people and land are deeply connected. This idea guides how communities manage natural resources and preserve their cultural practices while participating in tourism. Next is ecotourism model. This figure shows the interconnected elements that shape ecotourism. At the center is Vanor, representing the unity of people, land, and culture. Surrounding it are ecotourism, conservation, local participation, and management practices. These elements work together to protect the ecosystems like reefs, mangroves, and remnant forests while still supporting the tourism and livelihoods. Next is conservation and tourism. There is also a strong link between biodiversity conservation and tourism. Protected areas rely on tourism revenue to support conservation efforts. At the same time, tourism needs healthy ecosystems to attract visitors. So there should be shared responsibility between the community, tourism managers, and conservation groups to maintain a sustainable relationship. Now we move to cultural diversity. Cultural diversity is one of the strongest resources in tourism. Why? Because tourists want to experience different cultures, their traditions, festivals, food, and expressions. Countries like the Philippines benefit from having many ethnic groups, making the destination richer and more interesting to visitors. Next is the importance of cultural diversity. Cultural diversity also strengthens tourism because it gives tourists unique experiences and encourages interactions between different cultural groups. Scholars argue that in sustainable tourism, it is both morally right and economically wise to preserve the cultural diversity. Protecting culture not only builds identity and pride, but also support tourism growth.
Sustainability of cultural heritage tourism. Cultural heritage tourism is considered sustainable when the economic, social, and cultural aspects of culture are integrated rather than merely exploited in tourism planning and management. HAL 1994. Ang cultural heritage tourism is considered sustainable kung ang economic like jobs or income created through tourism, social like respecting and preservation of cultural sites, o environmental like protecting natural sites kay dili lang nato siya gamiton para maka-gain but i-integrate pod para ma-preserve ang culture ug makahatag og income sa local people without destroying it. So mao na siya sustainable nga cultural tourism. Cultural resources like traditions, historic buildings, festivals, arts, o mga cultural practices are the foundation of heritage tourism, and they are the essential for socio-economic development at the local level kay makahatag siya og jobs and income sa local people. Regional because kuan siya makapabloom sa tourism industry sa region. And national level because it helps the country promotes the national identity. This means nga kung ang cultural heritage himuon lang siyang pangnegosyo or pangpangwarta like sa kuan nahitabo sa Kuril Island sa Thailand, mahimo siyang problema sa pag-sustain sa tourism because sobra na siya ka-commercialize ang culture, then mawala ang authenticity o maapektuhan ang value sa lugar nga maoy gipangita sa mga tourists. So, sustainable heritage tourism gives the local people an opportunity to revitalize or revive ang local traditions through sustainable tourism. All cultures can express themselves and make themselves known and hence achieve a form of intercultural dialogue leading to peace and facilitating sustainable development. UNESCO 2004 and Robinson and Pacure 2006, page 17. So, ang tanang cultures makapa-express sa ilang kaugalingon, ma-known sa uban o makahatag og intercultural dialogue nga mulid into clear and makahelp sa sustainable development. In conclusion, cultural heritage attractions consist of numerous tangible and intangible expressions of peoples, places, and events. The natural creativity of local communities can be harnessed in developing diverse and unique cultural tourism products and attractions. The tourism industry should ensure that marketing cultural and natural heritage as tourist attractions does not undermine or degrade their value for present and future generations. Many of the indigenous people in the world, including those in the Philippines, belong to minority groups that are economically and politically marginalized. There is a need to balance the use of their cultures as tourism products with conservation and economic imperatives. The success of cultural heritage tourism depends on the ability of the local people to retain effective control of their tradition and resources. Sustainable tourism has a significant role in reviving, enhancing, and nurturing cultural heritage. Cultural heritage tourism is considered sustainable when the economic, social, and environmental aspects of culture are integrated in tourism planning and management, as what I've said earlier. So, this is relevant to the Philippine situation because of the existence of diverse culture and traditions in many of the country's destination sites.